Look up the word crazy in the dictionary and you might just find an asterisk beside the definition that says, listen to the Subiquitous podcast featuring Sue Duffield and you'll find out what crazy means. Sue's travelogue journey of unfiltered stories, impossible miracles, and faith-filled fun will be revisited right here. So buckle up and let's get going with this humorous travelogue of an unfiltered saint, Subiquitous.
Happy fall, happy autumn, happy days are here again. The skies are bright and no, they're not, because I have stink bugs. And you know what? Here's the thing. I didn't realize that stink bugs, first of all, they're not of God. And secondly, why? Why do we have these things? So I did a little research. There are 6 reasons why stink bugs are so attracted to your house, your property, and your place. And eventually, in this podcast, we're going to turn it into a wonderful spiritual revelation at the end, like we always do. For those of you listening for the first time, thank you for tuning in. This is the Subiquitous podcast, often imitated but never equaled. And I'm going to tell you, we are now reaching well over 15 countries. Crazy. In fact, we just added another one today. So who's listening to this podcast obviously must need some levity, need some blessing in their life, and may need a chance to look at the belief system of faith in a not-so-serious way. But how many know? Raise your hand like I am right now. I know that when someone is funny or someone brings some sort of comedic relief to Scripture or to even faith, I remember it for a long time. But I hate these stink bugs. Oh, they're awful. They're just ridiculous. So then I did a little research, and it says that stink bugs basically, they love this time of year. And the reason that they, create these little colonies, you don't find one stink bug. You find several hundred. And if you were like Jeff and I a few years ago when our kids got married and they were off on their honeymoon and we went through their house and we found thousands of stink bugs around their not the refrigerator, but around the air conditioner unit in the window. And then they were behind things. They hide behind stuff. They were in the closets. I was in a total freakazoid moment, Jeffrey.
Yes, you were.
I remember I was insane.
Very similar to what you were just the other day.
Just the other day, I walked out in our complex where we live. We have a beautiful, I guess you could call it in a more sophisticated way. Maybe it's a veranda.
Oh, that sounds
Doesn't
funny.
that sound nice? But really all it is a porch. But
pretty much.
I love to sit outside on that porch, especially when Jeff Duffield is working on his music projects. And if he doesn't have his headphones on, that is my escapism.
Yes.
Is going out to the sacred space called the porch.
Now that you've established that.
Yes.
Let's go back. After I reach over here and make this adjustment, let's go back just a little bit. Just a few seconds ago in your, I hate to say diatribe, but
I know, I'm on this thing.
Your expression of emotion.
Yes.
Just so that you don't get emails and letters and calls and text messages.
Did I do something wrong?
No. It is just the way you expressed it. You said when our kids get married, when they got married, and when they went on their honeymoon, we went in their house.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but we really didn't. It just sounded like, while they were away, we went in their house.
Oh, no, we were dog sitting.
I was there. I remember correctly.
Okay.
Yes. We were dog sitting.
Well, our kids don't listen to this podcast
I'm
anyway,
not worried about our kids. No, I'm worried about you getting emails like, how dare you go through your kid's house when they're away?
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
There was nothing. It was totally innocent. What you said.
Yes.
It was also totally innocent what we did because they requested that we stay there for the 10-day period or however long it was.
Yeah.
While they were out of the country.
Right. And we were protecting their house.
Babysitting
Little did we
dogs.
know we were protecting their house from the demonic critters.
We didn't really need to protect the house. The dogs took care of that. The 2 German shepherds they have.
And remember, Vader tried to eat the.
Yes, he did. So anyway, I
eat the stink bugs.
I distracted you from that, but I'm trying to save you grief down the road that we did not
invade their house. All right.
Surreptitiously
Well, I appreciate
invade their. Yeah.
You know, Jeff has always looked out for me, which is
Well,
always
you
a
do
good
that
thing
for me.
Well, yeah, you'll take me aside and say, I know you probably didn't think you wanted to say it like that.
And you've been historical in making that statement.
But let me ask you this question: how come you never get it when I kick you under the table when we're with another couple and you start talking off on some tangent, and you never pay attention to that?
Has it occurred to you that perhaps, since I still maintain feeling in my
Yes.
legs, that when you do that for one reason or the other, and you know that
I'm looking out for the community of the room.
Yeah, but I normally don't go off on a tangent without provocation or motivation. There is usually a point to it. And that when you do that and I do not respond to your kick under perhaps I'm ignoring you.
Well, I'm trying to protect you. See?
And I know you
were trying to
are.
look out for me, so I'm
Yes.
looking out for you.
I know, and I know when you do that's what
Anyway,
you're
we're
doing. I still
digressing, as
ignoring
your
it.
word
yes,
is.
Yes.
Let me just say this, okay?
All I wanted
These
to do was save
blasted
you.
critters that really got me on a tangent today.
They really did.
They
Yes.
they are just driving me insane, and they do annoyingly congregate
Yes.
in large numbers.
Yes, they do.
All right.
Are they still out there?
Well, there's a few this morning I saw.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they're there. They're there in bold
you
colors.
were spraying.
I know, but I didn't. I realize now I didn't get the correct spray.
Well, I thought you went to the hardware
Well,
store
I did,
to get
but
the correct
it's still
spray.
okay. Listen, they
I'm
have this
listening.
hard shell on the back. All right,
Okay.
and this spray that I got is supposed to penetrate the hard shell
Right.
and knock them into Hades, but it doesn't.
Or
They have
or
to
stink bug heaven.
No, there's no heaven for stink bugs. No, they have to flip over because they have a soft belly.
You're going to get letters from the stink bug protection unit.
Well, I know. But here's what they're doing. All right.
Okay,
Number
go ahead,
one, did
go
you
ahead.
know? I didn't know if you knew this or not, but stink bugs right now are seeking shelter from the cold.
Well, can't blame them
I
there.
can't blame them for that.
No.
But, you know,
They just want to shelter in place with you.
and they love me.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they look for me. I mean, we've been to camps and conference centers and hotels during the fall, and they always find Subiquitous. I don't know why.
Do you think that maybe it's just not directed at you?
Well, no, I think I have a scent trail. I think they think, you know what? There she is. Let's go get her. She
Okay.
doesn't like us, so let's irritate the crap out of her.
So it's
That's
passed
right.
down through generations
It
of
could
stink
be.
bugs.
But here's the thing. You know
Okay.
what? If a stink bug finds a good spot to shelter,
Yes.
they release what they call, are you ready for this word? It's spelled Pheromone. I think it's called pheromone.
It sounds like it.
Okay. And that attracts, are you ready for this?
More
That
stink bugs.
And that does not attract me.
And I've never even studied insect husbandry.
No. And I'm so happy that you haven't wasted your time because you know what? You're I'm just beyond myself today.
Just take a breath.
I
now.
know. Well, and then
I'll say something and it'll give you a moment to get your breath.
yeah, and here's
to
another
relax.
thing. All right,
Just
listen.
a little bit.
Here's another thing.
Yes, Al.
It's because you have lights on outside.
Well, I don't have
All right,
them on.
let's
There
think
are-
about this for a second.
Let's say there are lights on. So I don't have them on. That don't give the
No.
impression to the listener that you're, you're
No, I'm going to get to
irresponsible
that.
husband.
But the complex that we live in
Yes.
is very complex.
Yeah, well, it's very
Okay,
complex.
so
yeah.
they have on
Try and
the
get something done. You'll
exterior
find out.
lights from dusk
Yes.
to dawn.
Yes, they
so
do.
much so
So much so.
that I made you climb a ladder.
Oh, you better not say this. You know. So
Well, let's just
this may
say-
come back to haunt us too.
All right, but you climbed a ladder and you eased my pain and you removed a certain light.
I did.
Okay, so we won't say exactly what that was or how you did
We
it.
took care of the problem.
Well, it took electrical tape and some wire cutters. So,
You don't have pictures of this, so I disavow any
but
knowledge
here's
of
the
this.
thing. Did you know what? For
What?
2 nights in a row now, we do not have stink bugs outside of the bedroom window because you
well.
did that, and I'm so excited that that
Well.
happened.
Well,
But when I opened the door,
It's going to take you the rest of the afternoon to calm down.
I know, but when I open the door to go out onto the veranda, the light that's hanging up there, they buzz me. They knock me in the head.
Well,
they go in my eyes.
They know you're the enemy. They saw you go get that spray at the hardware store.
Maybe I have too much Jesus in my heart. They're attracted to the light.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they saw you walk on that veranda, as you say, with your spray.
Stink bugs.
Word gets out.
Stink bugs. Listen, here's another thing. I don't understand. They're big and they're crunchy.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, if you step on one, it goes.
Well, I was always told, and I've only become acquainted with stink bugs in the last couple of years.
I know, because you lived a sheltered life.
Yes, down here on Music Row.
You didn't go outside. That's why you don't know about stink bugs.
Yeah, again, we refer back. If you want to go back into podcast history, go back to one of the earliest podcasts of Subiquitous, and you'll find out Jeff Duffield didn't exist until 12 years old when he met Susan
When he met
Beatty.
me, and I introduced you not only to the great outdoors, but to stink bugs.
Yeah, I'd never been outside.
But before I lose my
met
point
you.
here,
Yeah.
all right, don't get me off track.
Oh, okay.
All
I
right,
wouldn't
don't
want to do
that
for
no,
anything.
Listen.
Yes.
Stink bugs like to sneak through the cracks and crevices
I'm
and
aware.
gaps and
Yes.
holes in foundations and roofs.
I duct taped the window with the air conditioner unit at my son's home.
And
yes, I'm aware.
But they can squeeze themselves to get through these little window
I'm with you.
door frame things.
Yep, I'm with you. Yep, I'm with you.
So, and then, of course, we believe in Greenpeace or green space or whatever. I'm not a tree hugger, but there are people.
I don't go out of my way to attack
you got to know
animals,
this.
no.
There is an organization.
Yes.
And I won't tell you what part of the country they're from.
Are they the anti-stink bug group?
Well, they believe that you should never kill them.
Oh, well, okay.
Because I guess there are some properties within the stink bug that help the environment.
Well, I was just getting ready to ask you, do they serve a purpose in God's green earth?
Listen.
Or do they eliminate another insect that does damage to the foliage?
Not that I'm aware.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware. No one can really. I mean, I've done some research, Jeff.
Well, what animal is it that eats mosquitoes that keeps them from biting me?
Well, we know the praying mantis is very vital.
Okay, right.
They
Well, there you
eat
go.
bad things.
I've never harmed intentionally a praying mantis in my life.
No, and
They're
then
very
right.
flaccid,
we actually had kind of one that looked like that the other day, and we had a sacred
that wasn't
moment.
a mantis. No, that was something different.
I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it wasn't a mantis, but it was a nice guy. He was stuck to the front of our car, but he was a nice guy.
But the stink is pretty amazing. It's.
I've never had one of them go off in my presence.
Oh, wait, no, you don't smell them until you smack them.
Well, there you go.
Well, then,
I'd just rather push them out of the way and let them see. Again, I'm a live and let live kind of guy.
I know.
So I just don't bug me.
But they have this.
No pun intended.
What is that word again? I use pheromone.
I
That's
guess.
what it is. PHER.
Well, isn't that something humans give off?
Well, we do. We give off a scent. There's no doubt. And you wait till the end of this podcast, man. You think I'm. You just
got
beside
a shower.
myself now.
You just got a shower. I know better.
Well, I remember in our day, though, this
yes.
isn't just about stink bugs for us.
Okay.
I'll never forget one day you invited this wonderful man into our studio.
No, he invited himself. He had money.
He had money, and he wanted to do a recording, and he had not had a bath in probably a year. I mean, it was beyond. It was beyond
the pale.
There's a name for that kind of body odor, and
he stunk.
Sweetheart. He was a sweetheart.
That's the name.
Yes, he was a very. Well,
Stinky.
no, I won't say that, but I will say this: that he had a kind heart.
Okay.
So, but I wanted to take him aside.
I never was able to see it.
I wanted to take him aside and say, honestly, when was the last time you cleaned your clothes?
How
so,
long
okay, so
has
he
it
left
been?
the studio.
Yes, he did.
And I wasn't.
But his pheromone.
Yes,
didn't leave.
His
right
pheromone
away.
did not leave, and I never in my life ever saw you and your dad laugh so hard.
One of the few times I saw my father roar Yes, out loud at your antics. He was usually the object of your antics, so he didn't laugh out loud too much.
Well,
but that day he did.
That they didn't know. I planned this because I had gone down there and I thought, dear God, I'm gonna have to fumigate this place with a stink bomb.
Yeah, well, you kind of did.
And so I walked down with a mask on, a hoodie on,
yes,
like I'm working in a toxic waste dump.
You did.
I had rags, I had Lysol spray, and I walk in and just stand there and look at you guys. And I thought you were going to have a heart attack.
I can visualize it to this day, and that we're talking over 40 years ago. Yeah, that was a pretty funny thing.
That was fun.
But
that
you know
was
what? Here's the end of the story.
Yeah,
the place smelled better.
It smelled better after I was done with it.
It certainly did.
That's right.
Because there was not a ton of ventilation in that basement.
No,
if you recall.
No, there was no windows.
No windows.
There was no ventilation.
We had a door.
Right.
And we opened the door at the end, but there was no cross ventilation.
No. Right.
So we opened the door at the end, and we had what they call a Bilko door.
Yes.
And we opened that, and we got some air in that way, plus your fragrances.
So odors have always been something for me. I mean, in a good way, I've had some great experiences like smelling, I did this, and I may have already said this, I smelled a man smoking a pipe, and it reminded me of my grandfather. That is not obnoxious to me.
Well, of course not.
That has a memory. But then there are memories that I can't get out of my head because of the odoriferous smelling, gag-producing smell in Sault Ste. Marie at a hotel.
Oh, yeah.
Years ago.
Come on, sister, preach.
Let me tell you, this was preaching.
Yeah.
We asked the hotel to clean our room.
Yeah, we did.
And they sent Sister Murgatroyd from the toxic dump to come and...
No, Sister Francine.
Francine Murgatroyd.
Yeah, from France.
Who doesn't know what deodorant is or was. And that's not saying, hey, listen, if money was an issue, we would have gladly paid to help her.
Dude, so we really want to gross our listeners out.
No.
I don't think she knew what a razor was. And we'll just let it go
you know what?
there.
We're not going there, and you're going to get letters for that.
We'll just let that.
I'm just going to say. Well, but it was so bad. How bad was it?
It was bad.
It was so bad.
It got into the sheets and the bedspread and the curtains.
After she cleaned our room, it smelled worse.
Yeah.
So what did we do? We called the front desk and said, just bring us towels. We don't want her in our room.
Right. We'll put up with
It was horrific.
There was like a foot and a half of snow on the ground.
It was freezing.
In the Sault, as they call it.
The Sault Ste. Marie.
The
UPers, the UP.
Yeah,
Michigan.
Was it? No,
that was in
Ontario.
Canada.
It was across. It was right across the border from.
Well, you still had to go through the Upper P.
Oh yeah.
Upper Peninsula to get there.
Yeah. It was Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario.
Yeah.
But it was right across the border crossing from when you went you crossed back, you went right into Michigan in the Upper Peninsula. Yeah, but it was cold up there too. I'm
like, again, I don't want to be critical, and I don't want to be. But I had a hard time with that. My nose was like, are you kidding me? I mean, I felt like my nose hairs were on fire. It was just awful. So, yes, I must, now that I'm thinking about this specific episode, now that I'm talking, it is really a big deal to me.
Yes.
And these stupid stink bugs drive me insane.
I'm kind of getting that impression.
They really do.
Yes.
So I'm like, did I ever tell you, though? This is a funny story.
Have I ever told you that I love you?
About 4 or 5 years ago, my wonderful friend invited me to do and speak at a women's conference in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And I spoke on, are you ready for this?
Stink bugs?
No, I spoke on the aroma of Christ, which I'm going to end with today.
I was hoping there was a point.
Oh, yeah, we're going to go there.
Yeah.
But what got everybody laughing so hard is here I'm talking about being the aroma of Christ and exuding this wonderful aroma so people are drawn to the kingdom of God. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden I walk outside and I get attacked by stink bugs. I even have a picture of it landing on my leg. Well, if that wasn't a perfect illustrated sermon.
They knew. I knew. It sounds like kind of like you with stink bugs is the way cats are with me.
Yeah. Oh, they love you.
They come after
I know.
me.
There's you know what? There is a blood type. Now,
I know.
think about this.
You've expressed this before.
Let me think about
Yeah.
this for a second. I have read that certain animals and insects are attracted, just like fleas for you.
Yes.
They love your blood.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they love that M&M peanut rich blood. They love that
I haven't had
blood.
any of them in a while.
No, I saw some at Sam's Club, the big box. I almost bought them.
Oh, you
but I
should've.
didn't.
Well, you should have.
No. So, maybe I have something besides the light that gleams from my life because I love Jesus.
Light in the window.
They come flocking towards me. I don't know what it is,
don't know.
but
it's got you
it
exercised.
really has me
A friend of ours
exorcised.
actually, yeah, a friend of ours actually said the other day, if you step on a stink bug, and I'm going to put
It
this
makes you
delicately.
It makes you toot.
Well, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say that the delicate, public way to put it is.
I never
gives you
heard of such a
gas.
thing. I never heard of such a
I
thing.
think she was.
That's Aesop's fables.
I think she was.
That's heresy.
Yeah, I think it was an old wives' tale.
Yeah,
I
don't
think
know. Because
Yeah.
if you step on it with your shoe,
I can
nothing's going to go
understand
through
that-
your body.
Well, I could understand that it would smell if you're
Yeah.
saying they have this odor about them.
Yeah.
Hence the name stink bugs.
Right.
But I don't know how that would cause you and your own person to have a problem. But just throwing it out there. Okay.
But let's just say if we were, not that not that we're going to, but if we were to compare the Christian faith to stink bugs.
I'm glad I'm glad we're getting back to this. We're moving back to a spiritual.
Yeah. Well, hang with me on
lesson
this
here,
one.
Object lesson.
Hang with
I'm-
me
I'm
just on this.
excited. I'm excited.
All right, so listen to this.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say that in 2020 we've been on a somewhat of a pause?
Oh, I think we've been under a spiritual stink bug attack.
And it really doesn't surprise me that I've been invaded by the stink bugs in 2020 even more.
Well,
I know
you know
that.
what? I think they're relatives in Delaware where we eradicated them from our son's house.
I know them. Did I tell you? I also
think
had some
they
in my
sent-
suitcase.
I think they sent cards and letters to the Tennessee contingent and said, "Get her."
Get her.
Yeah. It just
Sticker.
took them a while to find you.
Well, since this quote pause.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There's also what they call a dispause in nature. I don't know if you're aware of that. Or
I've
not.
never heard that term
Yeah, but
before.
it's an interesting term. Look it up.
You didn't create this, did you?
No.
Okay.
No, this is
This is not
according
like-
to
this is not like
National
s-
Geographic.
Okay, this is not like ubiquitous.
No. I
Okay.
made that one up.
Yeah, I know you did.
But stink bugs prefer to chill out under the bark of a dead tree
Ain't
or
none of them
hang
here.
under a big rocky crevice.
They're not here either.
Let me tell you what I'm seeing in the faith world right
Okay.
now. I am seeing Christians
Hmm.
who are very content in this pause of what we call pandemic proportion that are preferring to chill out under a dead tree of belief and a dead tree of faith theology and a dead tree of saying there is no God, there is no way we're going to get out of this thing, and we're walking in fear, and then all of a sudden they're just very content under that rocky crevice. What do you think about that? Will that preach?
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. I'm really
That might get you some cards
adamant
and
about
letters,
that.
too.
And I'm just sad. I'm sad to see such a lethargy.
Yeah.
I'm sad to see such a lethargy in not everybody. Thank God our church is not this way. And thank
No.
God we have many friends that are really on fire and saying, this is really going to be our chance more than ever before in this world right now to speak our hearts about the kingdom of Christ.
Right.
So there's a couple of ways you can look at it. Some of them feel like they're silenced. It's like
Yes.
their masks have become their lifestyle, so much so that they're afraid to say anything.
Mm-hmm.
They're afraid to exude the aroma of Christ because they're afraid they're going to be criticized.
Right.
And so they stay home.
Yep.
And then they hide.
Yep.
And then they go in their little crevice, just like a stink bug.
Yep.
And then,
Well, you know me.
I don't know.
The proverbial kick under the table that I ignore. Criticism of me
Yeah.
or something I believe or something, all that does is just
I
bring out the motivation and not retaliation, but no, motivation and an explanation of what my viewpoint is.
Yeah, well, listen, this one.
Okay.
One more thing here
Oh,
I really get into
I'm
it.
waiting with bated breath, so they say.
Stink bugs like to stay in the dark, but they are attracted to the light, but they are immobilized by the dark. And so think
So turn
about
out the
that'll
lights.
preach. That'll preach. All right?
Yep.
So many people right now who say, oh, I love the Lord and I want to be faith-oriented and I really want to do something for the kingdom of God. They are being attracted by the dark. Even though the light is within distance, they still remain comfortable. And that's their typical hangout spot, just like a stink bug. And they like dark places. Oh, so...
You've given us a lot of thought.
I'm telling you, this is preaching today. Yeah. Who would know?
Now, see, some would say...
What?
Some would say... I feel like I'm going to get kicked here in a minute.
No, you're not.
Some would say, well, if you do, you got a real long leg.
I know.
Some would say that this whole stink bug thing...
Yes.
What Scripture say about bad being turned into good?
Well, that could possibly be.
I mean, in your situation, if nothing else.
Well, listen to this one from the Message from 2 Corinthians 2:15.
Okay.
All right? In the Messiah, in Christ, God leads us from place to place in one perpetual victory parade.
There you go.
And through us, it didn't say, I love that word through. Oh, man, do a word study on the word through in Scripture. Through us, he brings knowledge of Christ. And everywhere we go, people breathe in the exquisite fragrance. And because of Christ, we give off a sweet scent rising to God, which is recognized by those on the way to salvation. All right? An aroma that's redolent with life.
Wow.
So people that identify the Christ that's within me and the Christ that's within you, we are recognized by that. Don't you think, though, there's a great big but and a big however coming up here?
I'm sitting here expecting it to turn around the corner any moment.
And here it is.
Okay.
But those on the way to destruction lead and treat us more like we're a stench from a rotting corpse. And let me tell you something on the serious side, Jeff. I smelled rotting corpse in Malaysia. I smelled the degradation of children and young women who had been prostituted and taken to places and killed and laid for dead in ditches. And I smelled what that smelled like. I pray in Jesus' name I never smell that again.
Yeah.
But I thought about that and I thought, you know what? Is that what I smell like to the world? And so my thought is with this whole stink bug brigade, here's how we can take it. We can be the perfume of God's love. I believe that. We can walk and talk and love and lead by God's presence because a believer brings a fragrance from heaven, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
I really believe that. And we've been around people like that.
Yes.
I've been around...
You're attracted to them.
There's a young woman from our church, and let me tell you, she is only probably 12 or 11. I'm not sure exactly. But she occasionally sings in the worship team, and this child has such a heart for God.
Yeah.
And people are attracted to her already.
Right.
She has it. She's got it, and it's not about personality.
No.
It's not about gifts.
Right.
It's about that she's got a tender heart towards God.
Right.
And so I just think you can't imitate that, and you can't create that.
Right.
But it's over prayer and incredible, intense living of a life of the gospel before her, and then bringing them step by step into the inner circle, which is what I really want to do as I get older, and that is to help mentor young people to find the difference so that they just quit breathing in the stench of death that's out there and start really breathing life.
So if I could encapsulate what you've just shared.
I would like, that's a nice word.
Yeah. Kind of tie the end together on it.
In a form of a vitamin.
Maybe.
Like a capsule.
The admonition, the encouraging word for today is, don't be a stink bug.
Don't be a stupid stink bug. And this is what I did say for years. I prayed to God seriously for spiritual stamina to remain a pretty testimony or a beautiful testimony of his love to the dark, saltless world today. And that has changed, Jeff. That has changed in how we do it. Maybe we don't do it so much in a public way in person with our actual bodies being on stages around the country.
Right.
That has almost stopped to a point where we're like, at the moment, we don't know what God is going to do.
Right.
But we still have a voice,
Right.
and we still have a way to present Jesus through Couch to Kitchen concerts and through our updates on all of our social media, and especially through this ubiquitous podcast.
Right.
And so I want so much to share my story, but at the same time, I want others to be encouraged to share their story. Because let's face it, you may not even leave a place like a scenario. A woman who shared with me, she said, Sue, I feel like after being in your presence, and this was probably one of the nicest compliments I ever got. She said, Sue, I just don't feel like it was all about you, but rather it was just, I felt the presence of God and I felt like you knew me. And I thought, if we could learn just a little bit that we can repel people just as much as we can attract them.
Oh, yeah.
And stink bugs are attracted to the dark, but they're also attracted to the light. So you have to learn how to
turn the light off.
Well, you have to learn how to be a discerning believer.
And get the right spray at the hardware store.
Right. And if you want to be like Jesus, breathe deeply and don't be a stink bug.
That's right.
So we're done
Okay.
with this podcast. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you, Jeff Duffield.
You're welcome.
I'm so impressed with you.
I'm sure you
Now
are.
go to the
No kicking
hardware
under the
store
table.
and get this thing called, let me show you what it's called. It's called...
What, you used the can up already?
No, I used that whole can up.
Oh,
There
dear.
is something else that you can use.
And
It's
they're still out
It's a
there.
big spray. It's a big spray thing.
Probably called stink bug spray.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. This was episode 22, and one of the ways that you can help us get the word out, thank you so much, by downloading the podcast and sharing the podcast on your social media sites. And also, thank you again for getting on SueDuffield.com and being a part of what we call being a patron. And it's a little as $5 a month, $10 a month, $15 a month, whatever it is you want to do. It helps us to provide funds to pay. I guess play, pray, and pay for the platforms that we pay every single month to keep this ubiquitous podcast going. Thank you again. We have been blessed by your giving. We have been blessed by your amazing financial blessing. So again, we say thank you. Stay tuned next week. We have no idea what it's going to be, but here's the cool part. You know me, you know Jeff. We never know where we're going, but I promise you this, we're not going to stink it up. We'll see you next week.